Good evening, everybody. Want to make a video response to Raw Doglet's latest video on the state and local bond defaults. His video is about a 60-minute story, appeared last night, and it was a real eye-opener. I just wanted to give a little, maybe different perspective and something for you to think about. Talked a lot about how the states are running out of money, and how Illinois, for example, they're not paying their bills. Tax revenues are not covering outlays, and some of the state pension obligations are going to have to be trimmed back. I just wanted to introduce a different concept here because it doesn't really get talked about a lot. Introduce you to a gentleman named Walter Burien and the CAFR, the Consolidated Annual Financial Reports. And if you go to Wikipedia, you can look up, actually it's comprehensive, you can look up the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. What jumps out first at you is, if you notice here, there's some big warnings, Wikipedia warnings, and we can talk about the bias or non-biased nature of Wikipedia. That's a whole nother video. But anytime you see these, it's a red flag. The first one is this article needs attention from an expert on the subject. Big surprise. This article may contain original research. Please improve it. And this article has been nominated to be checked for its neutrality. So, be that as it may, the facts seem to be in dispute. Anyway, it's about comprehensive annual financial reporting. And these are government financial statements that contain all the government monies, investments, and all the balances. So, to go down at the bottom, you can find out about Walter. Oh, well, great. They misspelled his name, made it Bubian. But anyway, from at least 1998, former commodities trading advisor of 14 years, Walter Burien, asked federal auditor of 30 years, Gerald Klatt, have made, by the way, Klatt's, I guess he's dead. I don't know. So this goes into your conspiracy theory stuff. But anyway, they've made specified detailed claims showing, referencing 184,000 local government CFRs, AFRs, and federal audit reports, et cetera, et cetera. What they've called these are second set of books, but as Mr. Burien says, the CFR is the book, with the budget being a section contained therein. Their assessments of government assets, holdings, and investments supporting globalism, ownership by government investments for profit, and government's international investments for profit, significantly enhance the use of the now $600 trillion international derivatives market. So I'll link this Wikipedia article. You can dig around for yourself. There's also a website Mr. Burien has, and it's kind of an eye-opener, so I'll take you there. He is... okay, big headline, government owns it all by investment. Now, the point that Walter's trying to make is this. When we have these big panics and budget crises that we see with the state and local government, no one ever asks this key question. What are the assets of the government? Does the government have assets? Well, as it turns out, when you start digging, they have trillions in assets. But they never touch these assets. So it's not an issue a lot of people know about. But a lot of people are starting to ask the question, why If the government has trillions in assets, is it always crying like it's broke? So I'll put the link to this site, but I wanted to read you a little bit of what Mr. Burian wrote and make you think about it. That's about Mr. Klatt. Could it be that our own government over the last several decades have been promoting to those Fortune 500 companies of which the government owns most through bond, loan investments, stock ownership? For example, 82% stock ownership of Microsoft Corporation, 61% of Disney, AOL Time Warner 58%, Exxon 72%, to manufacture abroad so the government would realize greater returns on their investments at the peoples of the USA's expense in jobs and wealth creation. Laying the groundwork for balancing world wealth, the primary foundation block of the New World Order. Now, our government wouldn't do that for a few extra trillions of non-tax income, right? Well, sorry to say, but you're wrong. In the 1960s, most government investment funds were restricted to a cap of 5%, a maximum of 10% invested outside the USA. By 2000, that restriction has been increased in many a case to over 45%, and in some cases, no restriction at all per percent of international investments held. So what Walter's pointing out is that a lot of these investments that the government holds, which they don't even talk about it. These are held outside the country. Investments outside the country. Now, these CAFRs, they're issued by every state and local government, and there's 1,800 of them. And what's in them? Well, the press never talks about these. They only talk about income, right? Let's look at your finances. You have income and you have outlays, but another big part of your financial life is your investments, right? All the investments that you own. And shouldn't we be asking whether the government should be selling some of their investments? If the government isn't bringing in enough money, isn't that what you do? Let's say you've got, a few $100,000 in stocks and bonds, and you get in trouble financially, or you have a little bit of time off from work where you're not bringing in any income. Sometimes you'll sell off some assets to make it through. Why aren't we ever talking about the government selling off assets? Or do we even talk about the fact the government has assets? Because according to Mr. Burian, they have trillions and trillions of dollars of assets. So, in fact, his claim is that most of the public companies in the entire stock exchange are owned primarily by the government. So, it's another perspective, and it's not that these budget crises aren't happening, but why isn't this question ever being asked? And just something to investigate. I don't really know enough about it. I haven't gone through all these CAFRs. They're huge, huge PDFs. They're all available. Governments put them all out. You can see all their investments, but it's something the press never wants to talk about. And 60 Minutes certainly never touched upon it. So just to give you a different perspective, you might want to look at it yourself and see what you think. Talk to you next time.